Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Let me see. I've got Spirit Wolf Tracy. Hello. Hi, Mrs. Sue, Nancy, Lisa, Katie, Bonnie, Chelsea, Charity, Doreen, Sarah, and the girls, Penelope, Emily, and Carol, Steve, Teresa, Clements, and Jennifer, Rebecca, Katie, Lynn, Gertrude, Trevor. Hello, everybody. I'm just dressed like an artist doing a little painting a minute. I'll be right with you. I hope you can hear me well. I'll put the mic closer to me a little bit after. I'm just going to finish up a little painting because I like to I like to show you can do whatever you want anywhere as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Hi Cheryl, nice to see you. Did I miss anyone? Hi Richard, nice to see you. Elise, Karen. I think I got everyone. Hi Katie and Patricia, nice to see you guys. So yeah, I've got a painting that I'm doing just here. It's just drying up. There's only a couple little bits on it that need to finish drying. Hi Dragon, hug Heather, happy birthday. O tanjobi omedetou, o tanjobi omedetou, o tanjobi omedetou, o tanjobi omedetou. I really went to sing happy birthday at the very end of that one. You can probably see it in my face just then. That's all right. Thank you and hi. Okay, here's what I've done. You might think that's amazing. You also might think that's not particularly good, but bear with me. I'm going to add a couple of extra details to it in a second. So what I'm doing is I'm just painting the view that I'm looking at right now, and I've added the stamp from the station. I'm going to show you my setup, so you know exactly what's going on just here. Otherwise, you might be a little bit confused. How is she doing this? So I'm going to show you guys. Hi Richard, nice to see you. Here's what we're looking at. Isn't that a dream scene? Look at that. Ohayou gozaimasu. This girl has been out and about today. I'm tired. You love it. Thank you very much. It is not finished yet. I was just meant to check how long the tour is. I think the tour is an hour and a half. Can anyone confirm for me that it's an hour and a half? Right, I've climbed all the way to the top of the hill. So this girl's a little bit tired. Also, I've been awake since before dawn, which is not really my cup of tea, but that's okay. So I did another painting just now. We're just going to wait for that to dry a little bit, and I'm going to add some details. Oh, thank you very much. I think it's an hour and a half. And here you go. Look, I'm popping the stamp in the exact same place. This is Omi Hachiman body, the canal. Oh, no, I think we'll let that pink bit stay. I don't know what it's from. A bit impressionistic. They're all a bit impressionistic because I've done them in minutes. I've done them in about 5 or 6 minutes for the base bit of paint, and then 5 or 6 minutes for the next layer of paint. Thank you very much. That's got a tip from Dragonfluff Heather on her birthday because she loves to tip people on her birthday. She loves to give on her birthday. She's got an interesting pastime. Her pastime is giving presents for her birthday. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's watercolor here. So I'm just gonna empty this little bit of watercolor just down on the ground, and swirl this out. What I'm doing is using the cap from my water bottle as my water pot, but I am still going to drink this, so think less of me or you like. I didn't put any paint directly in that, but also don't do it yourself, but my body is my body. I'll put whatever poison I want in it. Ohayou gozaimasu. Thank you very much, Dragonfluff Heather. Okay, thank you very much. Elizabeth and Sarah has saved a link to buy me a coffee. Thank you very much. Okay. Sumimasen. So there's not many people hiking around today because it's a little bit early. I think they might wake up soon. It's one of the last days we can catch the blossoms. So this is technically a cherry blossom tour. I'll have you hang tight with me to enjoy the cherry blossoms because I'm going to walk you down from the top of the... Let me hook myself up here. I'm going to walk myself down from the top of the mountain that we're on. But I'm going to walk you in and around some really interesting spots, okay? And then we're going to see the cherry blossoms. And we're going for a longer cherry blossom walk than you've seen before. Oh, thanks, Mrs. Sue. Thanks, Elise. This is a good point to leave a tip if you want to, because it's not going to affect your viewing of the rest of the tour, because I'm just having a little chat for a second. I'm going to keep doing a little bit of drawing in a second so that you can see what's going on. Thank you very much. Sarah, I'll tell you when to do the next one. Don't worry. That's all right. So I'm just going to finish off the little view, but I gather you guys would probably like to watch me do that. So let me try and rearrange things so that you can see. This is my little paint set that I made. This is actually a makeup case, like a travel makeup case that I made. And in it underneath, I'll show you what I've done. I've put some little bits of tissue paper and a dropper, and I can put my rubbish in there as well. Thank you very much, Anne, for joining us. And also, why not? It's almost the end of Heygo, right? So you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys love coming on my tours because there's either art, history, banter, wonderful views, or snacks. So I guess you probably want to see me have another snack, don't you? You want to see what this is? Lovely Japanese snack I've got going on over here? I'm sure you do. Right, let me rearrange myself a little bit. The best things I'm with great company. So I'm very sweaty because I marched up the whole mountain, and when you see the size of the mountain, you'll be like, what, Kendall? Feel free to take some bets on how fast you think I got up the mountain. It's a taiyaki, yeah. It's not just that. It's the most delicious chocolate taiyaki that you can buy from Family Mart. Check this out. It's one of the only fish you'll catch me happily eating. In fact, it's the only fish you'll catch me happily eating. I do have a tendency to eat fish if it's presented to me, but I prefer not to be forced into such an uncomfortable situation. So you've got to be ready for the postcards on this tour, okay? Shall I eat it head first, tail first? No waiting around. I would never normally eat a real fish head first. That's disgusting. Yeah, head first, real fish. Ugh, no thank you. All right, let's have a look. Just going to finish the drawing. I hope you guys don't mind. Of course, a few other people will be coming in a bit later. Yeah, let's finish this little doodle. So what I'm going to do, say doodle for a quick, not thinking too much kind of creation. So I call doodling. Just in case anyone's like, what on earth is a doodle? A doodle is all kinds of things. Look inside of this taiyaki. Custard cream. Oh, yummy, yummy. Right. So don't worry, I'm not going to spend too long. We'll only be about 5 minutes here. I don't faff around. So the page is still a little bit wet, which is a little bit difficult. It means the things that are on it don't take so easily. And in the background, we've got rice fields and plains and things. And then in the foreground, we've got lots of trees. So if we try and get a lot of focus by adding deeper color in the foreground, but these are directly in the foreground, these rocks. So I'm just going to get a little edge to them and color very, very lightly to add a bit of texture just over here. But allow that texture to shine through a little bit. Elise says, I'm so jealous right now. You be as jealous as you like. Now you're probably going to say, Kendall, you should have started doing outside, we call it plein air, right? Plein air drawings sooner. Now I've wanted to the whole time, but we thought we had all this time in the world on Heygo, but it turns out our days were numbered. But don't worry, you can catch me. I'll do all kinds of stuff like this on Instagram and more, and YouTube. So do give me a follow, linktr.ee. I've got my my link master Sarah in the gang here. She's sharing links to my Buy Me a Coffee. She's done that a couple of times, but yeah, also linktr.ee and also YouTube. Thank you very much, lovely. You're all right for a second. You can take a break now. That was your extra call. Hello, Vicky. I'm Alison, Anna, and Lauren. 3-tip Heather. What's going on? And welcome, Dragon Rider. Lawrence is in the group. Heather's son, Lawrence. They've become double sponsors on Buy Me a Coffee. So thank you very, very much, Dragon Rider. Right, there are loads of tiny little trees in the foreground that look like they've got little dots on them. So I'm holding the pen near the edge. You see, I'm starting at the base because I want it to be stronger, and I'm letting it flick off to the edge so that if you can just see here, just around these bits, it goes thinner at the end. That's how to make a nice branch really quickly. No, you did hear the prompt, so I'm relieving you. You got the prompt, I'm grateful, and I'm relieving you for a second. When you see 20 more people join the group, then go ahead and chuck another link. That'd be great. We don't want to overwhelm everyone too much, but yeah, no worries. You are my champion. I'm grateful. Thank you. And thank you so much to everyone that has been using those links. Okay, so there's loads of little bits that look like leaves. So what I'm going to do is loads of tiny little dots like this, just near the end. It would be cool to have a pen, but for some reason I forgot my pen. I love using pencil crayons because you have to be permanent. I use watercolor immediately and coloring pencils because you just have to do it. You just have to do what you've done. If anyone's just coming in and they're wondering when the tour's starting officially properly in about 2 or 3 minutes, don't worry, we're not hanging out forever doing this. But if you're loving this, then nice. I love you. Okay, we've got the base of the mountains. Try to get the mountains going off into the distance. I can also use a colored pencil to get some just in the further distance. But look how I did this. You can see just up here, I press a little bit into the top, and then I let the shading part of the pencil, so the base of the, rather than the tip of the pencil, finish up the rest. And that gives it a really cool effect, I think, personally. Hi, Barry and Diana. Nice to see you. Anna, Alison, Lauren, Vicky, nice to see you. You all seem happy. I'm glad. Just going to try and get a little outline of some of the rice fields. So in the background, the rice fields have a perspective, which is going to be a little bit hard to do without accidentally making the picture unclear. So there's a lot of perspective in there. So you know what? I'm just going to try and get some straight lines on a kind of right angle, the right kind of angle, and not really worry about it too much. In fact, I'm leaving it like that because I can't really be fussed. Going to stand up. Crouching's a little bit of a pain. And I'm just going to scatter in leaves like this. This Japanese pine trees, sorry. So I'm going to do this to replicate the Japanese pine tree, okay? So I'm jaggedly pushing like this into the pencil, push, 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 and I'm letting the pencil do the work. Now, I didn't learn how to do this from anyone. I just worked it out from playing around. So if you think I've got some kind of special skill or talent, it's not. It's practice. I mean, might well do, I don't know, but it's practice. You got to practice. If you want to do something, you got to practice. You want to be good at playing the guitar, you got to practice. You want to be good at speaking a different language, you got to practice. You can't just wish it. You can't. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. Now, you might be adept at picking it up, which is pretty cool, but you got to play. Let's get some over here as well. Okay, notice I've turned the page because I want the pointy bit to be facing down. So it's much easier for me if I turn the page around like this. Finish up these in just 1 minute and then we'll be off down the mountain. And there are some beautiful sights that I didn't notice in the last tour. So if you did come on the last tour, you got to see it from the bottom up. It was tiring for little old me. This time I've saved you the exhaustion of spiders climbing on my phone, and I've climbed to the top of the mountain myself, and we'll go from there. All right, what have I got to do next? I've got to put the date. Oh, Niseniji Sannen. That is 2023. Shigatsu is the fourth moon, and 1日2日3日4日 wait 1日2日3日4日5日6日 is the sixth day, the sixth moon. Okay, let's have a little look. 1 second. Just a second, I'm going to finish this taiyaki. And there we go. Okay, that's my reward for this day. I'm going to be out of the house for 14 hours today, presenting tours to you on Heygo. My reward is that my sketchbook gets filled. I'll just show you one more time. Here, Azuchi Castle, sorry, not Azuchi Castle. This is a church, I think, but this is Azuchi train station stamp. And Omihachiman. They'd burn me at the stake for that book. Oh, she's saying it's wizardry, so I'll be burned at the stake for such witchcraft of Heather's idea of skill, which is very kind of her to say. All right, you don't have to listen to me chewing. Apologies for the live mastication. And I won't be speaking with my mouth full any longer. That's not my usual style. Needs must. Yeah, let's bounce, shall we? 1 second. This shirt, I don't know. The microphone, I think, was meant for boys because it only does it up on that's the amount of things that are made for boys. The microphone only fits the blouse upside down, so it doesn't fit. It won't fit my shirt very easily. It would fit a man's shirt, though. Ohayou gozaimasu. Isn't that amazing? Sexism from my microphone. Useless. Hello, Dawn. Nice to see you. Welcome to Azuchi, everybody. Thank you very much. Yeah, watercolor before the pencils. Hi, Barry and Diana. Nice to see you. Laurie, hello. Look at that little Van Gogh that you've got over there. Look, we can see a little shrine in the background. That is the shrine to Oda Nobunaga. This is his castle. We are here to hear the tale of Nobunaga, the great samurai warlord known as the unifier of Japan. And we've started at the top of the hill. We've started where the castle resides. However, the castle does not reside here anymore because despite it being built in record time, in only 3 years, finished in 1576. Finished in 1576. It was actually burned down just 3 years later by a friend turned enemy. So now we can just see the foundation stones, but I've got a little bit of information I can read to you about the foundation stones, and otherwise would be peppered throughout with my own information and that which I have found, translated on site, and also found on the internet, of course. Katie's taking notes from the master. Hi, Karen. Lovely to see you. Just missed my drawing, I'm afraid, but I'll either show you at the end or it's on YouTube and Instagram and other things. And Buy Me a Coffee is going to be where I start using. So if you've been using Heygo, the app, to stay in contact with me, then please move over to Buy Me a Coffee. Just follow that as if it was the same. Thank you very much. That's all right, Karen. Don't worry. I'm sorry for you. Okay, so the castle would have stood 40 meters high up on this hill of which is over 50 meters high. Let me just get you a little picture of what that would have looked like. I'm pretty sure I was smart enough to load it up. Yeah, look at this. So here we are up on the hill. Here's an old painting of it. This is a castle town called Azuchi. Sumimasen. A castle town called Azuchi in the Omi district of Japan, in Shiga, right next to Lake Biwa. In fact, sorry, I should just turn around and point that out. In the distance, you can't see it. You can't see it so well because of the day, but you can see it a little bit better than the other day. It basically blends in at the very end, not at the very end, but as you see me leave the ticket gate, please remind me of the umbrella. But thank you very, very, very much. You can see a little faint line in the middle, and that is Lake Biwa, 670 square kilometers in size, which is almost the same size as Singapore, which is a testament to the smallness of Singapore and the bigness of this lake. The lake uses up 16% of Shiga. Shiga is where I live, part of Kansai, which is one of the most popular and famous areas of Japan because it is where Kyoto and Osaka reside. Sorry if the signal's a little bit weak occasionally. It will get much better as we descend the hill. So I hope the visuals are okay. And at very least, I hope you can all hear my voice nicely. So you can see that little picture of the castle town. We've got more pictures to come, and they're excellent. There are some little weeping blossoms up here, but as we descend the hill, the mountain, you'll find a few blossoms as we descend the main steps, but we've got a little while to go till we get to those. But after that, I'm going to walk you throughout basically a kind of archway roadside of blossoms, and they're still in bloom and they're gorgeous. So please do come and check those out with me towards the end of this 1 hour and 30-minute long tour. And if anyone's got questions for me at the end, I'll even stay a bit longer for you for that, okay? And please check out my other tours as well. So my name is MissKendalJames. I'm an artist that's been living in Japan for 3.5 years, and I love where I live. So the one thing I hope that you'll get from any of my tours is a little bit of inspiration for how to travel in Japan if you want to, maybe a new desire to travel to Japan when you wouldn't have otherwise. Sorry, I got distracted by Elise's picture. Elise's comment, sorry there. We're looking at foundation stones for the castle. And as I was saying, I hope you get some desire to come and travel in Japan. So bear with me 1 second and I'll get you a little bit of information of exactly what we're looking at. Because I haven't provided this before, but I translated the information in the distance over there. So let me just gather it for you. We can see exactly what we're looking at. It would have stood 40 meters high. I'm going to read the specific information and then I'm going to tell you the really special things about the castle. So hang tight. So these castle ruins are designated as a National Special Historic Site. Oh, okay. Sorry. Within this designated area, it is forbidden to change the current state of the historic site without permission. Violators will be severely punished by law, and they apologize for any inconvenience that gives to visitors. But they hope that you will understand the special history that resides here. As we descend the mountain, I'll tell you more about the special history because that is in my own head. But right now I'm just reading you a little bit of the information that is on that plaque over there in the distance. Okay, so that is from the Azuchi Corporation, who really want to protect this important cultural site, which is 450 years old, actually, from the warring states of the warring state period of Japan. Here it says that the Tenshu, so that's the main castle tower, that is this area that we're looking at right now. Just going to descend a little bit and then turn around so that you can have a different view so you don't get bored of that while I read this. The Tenshu was destroyed in a fire in 1582, just 3 years after its completion. So it started being built in 1576, 1579, it was complete, and then 3 years later the whole thing was burned down. No one visited after that, and for many years it was buried in rubble and vegetation. It was the 15th year of Showa in 1940 that an investigation was first carried out here. Except for the thick soil, it appeared as it is now. At this time, a few things were added to prevent the stone wall from collapsing, but it remains the same as it was when it was detected. Records show that the Azuchi Castle Tenshu was a new construction at the time, with 6 floors above ground and 1 below ground. Let me send you a picture of that in the chat. Hi, Rose and Madison. So please get a lovely look at the gorgeous, gorgeous castle. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about its splendor in a moment. But yes, it's quite amazing. It had 7 stories to it, which was just amazing. Although it didn't last very long, did it? Some of the best things don't last very long. So let's let that be a metaphor to ourselves as we feel a bit stressed and worried about what's coming next. So it had 6 floors above ground and 1 below ground. Since then, Azuchi Castle was the starting point for high-rise castle towers that were built all over the country. The place where you are standing is on the first basement floor, but the main deck was much larger, about twice as large. Currently, the upper part of the stone wall is so, it says violent, I think that's a poor translation, is so large that it is impossible to see its scale. The figure on the left, the figure to the left side, shows a little bit of that wall, and we can see it from down below. And actually the wall is some 6 meters in thickness, which is very, very impressive and not uncommon in Japanese castles. Okay, and I'll just go a little bit lower, look up the steps, and I'll just read a little bit more about what kind of things were inside the castle, and then we're going to have me in story mode telling you all the things I know. Now, this is one place that I think is, well, in Japan, I always recommend looking all the way down and looking all the way up. But I think that the stone paths are actually really, really gorgeous here. But excuse me, they are up to my knee, some of them. And the trees are so, so tall. Hi, Timothy. Welcome. Oh, Timothy. What a dream little voyager, stepping in, tipping, and I hope staying for the ride. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. I appreciate that. By the way, it costs 700 yen for an adult to come up into this space to do their hiking and so on. And here's a little look at the steps I just stumbled on down. So there's an old measurement called ken, and it says that the height of the whole castle was 12 ken, but we know that to be 40 meters or so now. And the inner part of it was used as a storehouse, but it had all kinds of other things inside as well. 204 pillars. The main pillar was almost as tall as it. It was 3/4 the size of the castle. And inside there was a banquet room covered in black lacquer. One of the most astonishing things of this castle. Kendals, 12 Kendals. Yeah. One of the most astonishing things about this castle, as you can see from the pictures in the chat, of course, we're looking at ruins now. I hope you've read the about sections to understand that. But one of the most amazing things is the amount of colors that were used in it. And it was lacquered in gold and black, which was just so fantastic. Because if you've come to, I say that as if I was there. When I was there 450 years ago and I saw it, it was so fantastic. You should have been there. You had to be there. Were you at that party? When I was there, it reminds me of when children are like, pretend, da 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 da. When I was hanging out in that castle with Nobunaga, being one of his courtesans, it was just the best time, apart from he had so many other courtesans and it was not really cool, and I didn't really like the one that had the long hair. She wasn't very nice. You thought you saw me there. It was me. That was me. Okay. I'm going to continue on a little bit further down. There's something gorgeous down at the bottom. But many people told tale of how they had seen the most splendid castle in all the land. And it was designed to be that way. Many castles are designed for protection against war. And this one had it had assets that looked after it in that regard. But what Oda Nobunaga wanted to do, after having won so many wars and being known as just this absolute champion, the kind of demon lord samurai warrior of Japan at the time, and later to be given such a grand name as the great unifier of Japan, he just wanted to show off. He's like, yep, did it, kind of beat all you guys, didn't I? So here's my massive castle right next to the largest lake in the land, overlooking so much of that lake that we can actually see Kyoto in the south, and we can see as far as Gifu and all of Aichi and everything up in the north. Like, yeah, look at my castle. I hope you can see it from miles away, and that is why it is blue, and it is red, and it is gold and black and incredible, and you should wish you had. You can only hope to have had such an incredible castle. Mean Girls, the Warring Period edition. He was flashy. However, he hadn't always been flashy. There's just so much gossip around him. Apparently, he was, to be honest, quite a slob. His dad hated him. His dad preferred his younger brother, which is a bit astonishing. Normally, the firstborn would be all the bells and whistles, right? Everything you'd ever hoped for. But I think he was born of a concubine rather than the correct style of marital bliss in samurai warlord times, which was not exactly bliss, but still. Oh, sorry, a little bit zoomed in there. Let me zoom out so it pans a bit more nicely. I'll just take a little break to tell you about these little stones. Look at this. They look like a family, don't they? How cute is this? So I don't know if you guys have this in your country. I'm from the UK. As you can probably hear in my accent, I'm British. And apparently having a whale of a time today by myself, hanging out with you guys in my pocket, because I'm as lively as if it's the evening, which if you're a fan of my channel, you know is likely to only happen in the evening, usually. So basically, as you start hiking, sometime in the UK, what we do is near the beginning of a hiking route, we will pick up a stone. And as we get towards the top of the mountain, or when we reach what we consider to be the top, or just there, it looks a bit more like children have been playing, doesn't it? There's a mountain that I went to called Pon Pon Mountain. Isn't that the cutest thing in the world? You know what? With thanks to all of my sponsors, I think I might like to go to that in 2 months to go and see the hydrangeas at this incredible temple, and at least give you guys a video, if not a proper live tour. So astonishing. But I saw this huge mound that maybe came up to my shoulders of everybody had basically made a pyramid of these stones that had been gathered and brought towards the top of the mountain, which is lovely. So I don't know if you guys do that where you are, but sometimes in Japan I see the same. You guys do it too? Or that's your yes for going to the pom-pom. Plot twists, that's how the pyramids were made. Just people just on recreational trips. Yeah, sure. Absolutely no slavery involved in pyramids. So there are all kinds of different stone plaques and things around. I'm going to call it plaque. There's probably a better word for that. Not an obelisk, that's too tall. 3, 2, 1. There's all sorts of these stone monuments. Let's go with monuments. 3, 2, 1. I can't be expected to English all day and all night. It's a bit much. I have been told I occasionally speak Japanese in my sleep, which is great. I wish I knew about that so I could congratulate myself. 1 second. Let's have a pause to check out the thickness. Witness the thickness on this wall. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. That's 2 sets of 6 meters. 6 over here and 6 over here. Don't read into that hand gesture for measuring sixes or anything. Right. So very, very thick walls. That's the plateau in which the castle was standing on, up so high, all the way up there. And over here we have one of many shrines to Oda Nobunaga. And let me show you a little representation of that gentleman, so notorious was he. He can be depicted in various ways. His earliest depiction is of one by a priest. I don't know if I have that picture. Let me just have a little look. Do I know how the stone walls were moved? Perseverance and not having any internet, so people had a lot more time to do stuff, I imagine. But I don't have exact answers there. I can promise you I've basically always got a joke for everything, but sorry, no exact answers. However, I will say that the best jokes do seem to, in my opinion, have at least 50% an element of truth. Moved carefully, you should hope so. I bet there were incidents galore. Just a second, let me show you the picture of Nobunaga. Okay, actually, when you arrive at Azuchi train station, this is what you can see outside. So if you're watching this on Heygo, please have a look in the chat. If you're not watching this on Heygo, you might like to follow me on Instagram as @MissKendalJames, because I often post complimentary pictures that go with my travels. And if they're not there immediately, they will be there eventually. So do check those out. But here we have a shrine that's looking so fresh and exciting and so inviting to me. Look at that, fresh copper, fresh pine. It's just looking gorgeous. It even smells amazing. But yeah, Trevor, there is a recreation of it as well. Mr. Quick, there's a sign that says Mr. Quick through there. I'll tell you about the recreation in a little bit. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's got my Instagram on it. Hi, Claire. Nice to see you. So actually, I came here loads of times last year, through different seasons. I brought you here in the autumn was the last time because the leaves around here look incredible during the autumn period. Like that period in time. During autumn season, they look amazing. So I brought you guys here. Hi, Ken. Nice to see you. Are the shrines for worship? Yes, they are for worship. I've got so much information packed into my head, so hang tight, hang tight. If you think I've skipped over something that you thought I should have said in that moment, then do feel free to ask, and I'll see if I can fit it in. Ooh, smells very, very good here. This shrine in particular is it's quite unusual. Sorry, you can't see in there. It's because they're constructing it at the moment. But this one is for Oda Nobunaga-san. This is his. It's just for him. In this whole site, the temple and everything, they're not for anything but him. Which is vain, for starters. But then if you've become so great, if you've beaten everyone, then you might as well build a load of shrines to yourself, right? Look at this. Someone has put some prayer beads here. And even more interestingly, if you have a look with a little artist's eye, so you can see the dashing version of Nobunaga just here. But in the background, if I just move these gently, you can see little stamps that have been added. And I think I can get one of those from my sketchbook later. Hi, Mary Lou. Nice to see you. So if you want to conduct a little prayer here to be as great as Nobunaga, then you actually just perform your little prayer ritual in the same way. So normally we walk up to it, we bow, we clap to let the gods or Sir Nobunaga know that we are here. Then we pray and bow one more time, and then we step away. And all of that is after having put a little bit of money into the pot, an offering. And as you come up this mountainside path, there are also lots of other little areas with lots of other areas with little pots on the ground for you to continue making offerings all the way up. I guess for your safety as you continue to climb up everything. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that in a moment. Now, there are signs of Buddha around here as well. Hi, Sasha. Nice to see you. And Mary Lou, nice to see you. There are signs of Buddha around here as well. In particular, there are some wonderful stone Buddha's feet, representing India, actually, because that's where Buddhism came from. 1,300 years ago, I think. 1,400 or 500 years ago. Buddhism came through China sooner than that, then through Korea, and then it came to Japan. But actually the indigenous religion to Japan is Shintoism. But Japanese people generally, I'm looking down, by the way, because the stones are gorgeous. So please, you haven't mentioned yet, but if anyone's like, why is she looking down? The stones are just gorgeous. I'll look up as well. Obviously, just distracted myself there. Excuse me. Most people in Japan, what's the word? They correspond to? No, that's not the word. They believe, they perform seemingly religious acts, which are not necessarily religious, but are more part of their culture and tradition, that are for both Buddhism and Shintoism. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with that. And here is a little offering dish. Yeah, accommodating. That's nice. Someone's just got like, I've got no money. Just chuck my jewellery in there. Maybe. Sure. Chuck my jewellery in. It feels a bit unceremonious. The Japanese and so the Shintoism and Buddhism, I don't think is at all akin to each other, really. And I'll explain some differences in that in just a moment, because I think it's very interesting. And you can also come along to my Hiraoka 2,600-year-old shrine tour on my Sunday, which will probably be your Saturday for most of you, if you would like to hear a little bit more about that and see an incredible shrine. Here are some of Buddha's feet. Yeah, I will show the feet again. Please be patient with me. Thank you. I'll be showing them again because I've got an idea for a little shot. Let me see if I can get it. I want to get my feet in it too, but I don't know if this... No, you're going to have to check on Instagram, because this camera and the app doesn't allow me to fit both in it. It's not wide enough. but I got a really cute picture of my feet and Buddha's feet earlier. But this in particular is this sign here. Says that it is a very ancient artifact, and in fact, these stones are from. Sorry, this one stone is from the Middle Ages, which is pretty rare out and around here, especially to just be outside. So who knows where that was acquired from, but quite spectacular, I think. Yeah, so all of the religions do coexist together. You'll have to help me out with the third religion that you're referring to, Richard. But basically, generally, the fact is, indigenous to Japan is Shintoism, and the general theme of Shintoism is life and continuation of life and thanks for life. And generally, Buddhist ceremonies and things are in relation to death, so saying goodbye and thanking for that which was. So if you want to do anything that relates to death or the closing of a business, the ending of a relationship, then you'll find yourself going to a Buddhist temple. And if you want to do anything that celebrates the newness of something, then you'll find yourself going to a Shinto shrine. But hit me up with the third religion there, Richard. I'm ready to be enlightened. Look at this. What a rock. What a stone. How do they do that? Amazing. It looks like primitive Tetris. There you go. Tetris has always existed here in Japan, right from days of old. Confucianism, Buddhism and Taoism. So that's, yeah, a bit out of my depth, especially for Taoism. I don't have too much to contribute to that. But I can't read. I can read. I listened to a wonderful, about 30-hour-long lecture series 2 years ago about the differences between Confucianism, Buddhism, and Christianity, which I just thought was wonderful. And that was available on Audible. I do not get any money for that. I'm just saying that's where I got it, and it was brilliant. But it sounds like it should have had a lot more going on in it, doesn't it? Yeah, the two are local Chinese religions. I know that much at very least. And there are some crossovers. Now, we missed a spot that we went to the other day because it's in my other tour. But what we're going to do is come down this way and show you a part that you didn't see the other day. I promised you a look at the Quasi National Park on the other side, as well as a pagoda that's up in this direction too. I've got a little bit of money in my pocket so that I can put a special little blessing into. It seems a bit silly doing it if you know it's just for, in the space of a deceased person's realm. I think I should probably not say just for Oda Nobunaga-san. But I will put some money in the offering pot when I reach the bell, and I will ring that bell for you. I will ring the bell, ring the bell, doo-doo. I'll do it. Taoism is for mankind to be at one with nature and the universe and the cultivation of the self. Very similar to Shintoism then. Has Japan ever considered rebuilding Azuchi Castle the way it was? Excellent question, Barry. And in fact, no, not on this site. I don't know if you were here for the first 30 minutes of the tour, but the first 20 minutes was talking and painting, first 15. And just after that, I talked about that the castle grounds up there and the in particular, the Tenshu, the tower grounds, and how you're just not allowed to change anything here. It's to be kept as the important cultural site that it is. So you cannot do that. However, in Mie Prefecture, there is a theme park, and they have recreated Azuchi Castle. However, I believe it is nowhere near as tall as the original castle would be. But in the chat earlier, I put a picture, and I'll just add that again. Hello, Joy. Nice to see you. I love the tall, slender trees too. Let me have a little look. A couple of people are waking up and coming in. I promised you some pictures of Nobunaga too. Here is the theme park one that you can find. JJ, Joy, is it you as in the guide? Lovely to see you. This is the theme park version that you can go and see in Mie Prefecture. I believe it is in Nagashima Spa Land, which is very close to Nabana no Sato, where I was taking you guys for lots of nighttime illuminations earlier on last year. That's all right, no problem, Barry. Now, usually my tours get put on YouTube as well, but I must tell you that Heygo is missing parts of my downloads, which is causing me a lot of stress and problems. I mean, a lot of stress, I'm acknowledging it. It can be stressful. The most stressful thing is potentially everybody else saying how sad that is, but I can't help them. So unfortunately, some parts of my tours are just missing because of Heygo's behind the scenes has got problems right now. Shame. Now, I would like to remind anyone who has come in late that this is going to be a cherry blossom tour as well, but the cherry blossom section will be reserved for towards the end of the tour in particular. Hello, lovely. I hope you're holding up well. I hope you're finding ways to download postcards, keep tours. Something I'm doing, Joy, is I'm logging all of my reviews so that I can use them as evidence of impeccable standards, so to speak. So I hope you're managing to do those things if you would like to. Yeah, MissKendalJames on everything, Joy. Yeah, please. You can connect with me however you like. Lisa's going to pop, not Lisa, Sarah's going to pop a little link in the chat about now, I'm sure of it. Hi, Erin, nice to see you. Yeah, it's really cool. So you can go and get a little idea of the splendor of the castle by popping by that way. And if you're cruising down the motorway, cruising down the highway, riding along in your automobile, if you're doing that, then you're cruising past that kind of area, you are likely to see, what? Is that Azuchi Castle poking out of the top of a Ferris wheel? Yes, why, yes, it is. So it's quite the sight. And my friend Frankie, who you can find on YouTube as Franklin the Woman, or on TikTok as the same, and Instagram, she has reported to me walking past it, driving past it, and was like, what? How is that here? So it's a little bit of a dream of mine to get there. And I know you're not allowed to live stream there, but I bet I'm allowed to take a video. So keep up with me on the tubes of views, and I will happily share that with you at a later date in the year. Yes, thank you very much for the links. Do you hear that? The bell is quite far behind us. What I'm going to do is shut up for a minute, and I'm going to try and walk slowly so that you guys don't have to hear my panting, okay? Let's have some peace. What does that mean, Lynn? Oh, good. Dan too gets shout-outs on my tours. What did he say? Yeah, it's all right when I'm not nattering, isn't it? Oh no, the blossoms have all fallen off these trees. But don't worry, there are loads the other side. So when we get down onto flat ground, there are loads of blossoms. Oh, 1 second. Let me cover the mic. Oh, that was cardio. I'm an amazing guide. I mentioned the 12-hour tour I did. Thank you. Rose says she loves my nattering. Ohayou gozaimasu. Good. I think he just said, how are you? Japanese person just said, how are you to me? Look at this, some nice little shots of what it might have looked like. Now, one of the reasons I really love this whole hill that we're stood on is because it's part of an incredible castle town that was developed by Oda Nobunaga because he wanted to start fresh and he wanted to really, really show off. Please admire this pagoda over here. Of course, everything in support and worship of Nobunaga. He really needed people to come to his town. There's no point trying to start a town or city without having any civilians in it. And if you came on my canal tour earlier, you would have seen some beautiful sights and saw another drawing happen. But you would have also heard that no one used to pay taxes in Omihachiman. Now, Azuchi, where we are right now, is part of Omihachiman. So it also didn't have any taxes being paid back in the day to encourage people to start coming down here. So if you were trading in the area and passing through with different kinds of versions of vehicles, carts and horses and things, then you wouldn't have paid any tax for your products, which just meant that this developed into a really, really thriving area. In particular, Omihachiman, because it was so close to the canal that linked to Lake Biwa, which in turn carried you through the Yodo or Seta River, which in turn carried you all the way through to places like the Takase River in Kyoto, which is just outstanding, the connection between this southwestern part of Japan and what would have been Edo, Tokyo now, long time ago. That's all right, Joy. Thanks for coming in. It's so lovely to see you. Check out any of Joy's tours that she's got left. And if anyone's got a link for Joy, please do go and share it. And that being said, if anyone's got a link for any of their favorite guides, wonderful Dan and Joy and so many others, you are absolutely welcome to share them in this chat. And excuse me if that annoys anybody because they're trying to enjoy the tour, but you are also welcome to share your social media links in my chats in these final days that are coming on Heygo, because I don't want anyone to feel like they missed their chance to connect with people that really mattered to them. Okay, so feel free, chuck them in there. You've got my blessing. Hi, Ginny. So add Ginny's as well. I think Ginny might have just finished her last tour. But here we're looking at a quasi-national park. I'm afraid I went and did it again. I didn't write down the name. I think it's called Sagi. Someone's going to check it out on the map and type it to me, aren't you lovelies? But the reason it's called a I don't know how to say that, quasi-national park. I'm British, but I speak American English all the time, and I don't know what language is mine anymore. I'm just trapped. I'm trapped in unknown. It's called a quasi one rather than a full one, because even though it is vast, even though it is beautiful, even though it has so many species of creatures and plants in it, it doesn't have enough to meet the criteria to be called an official proper big one. Hello, Chandra. Nice to see you as well. Any guides, you're welcome to share any of their links in here. Nice to see you. But yeah, this is a little bit that we didn't get to come to the other day, but of course you have come to with me if you've ever been on this tour or the original version of this tour before. Not labeled on the map. Oh, 1 second. I can probably get it on mine. Bear with me. I'm going to let you look at this. Oh, thanks. Charity has gone and shared a link to mine. I've said pop your favourite guides in, and she shared me. Thank you very much for getting JJ Walsh's. 3, 2, 1. A little bit overcast, so the shadowing's a little bit strange. I'll just put you there for just a second. Let me just check a map so I can give you the proper name here. 3, 2, 1. But aren't the bird songs lovely? It is called Lake Saninoko. Lake Saninoko, but I don't think that's the national. Yeah, it is. Lake Saninoko is the name of that lovely quasi-national park there. Okay, 3-story pagoda here, quite typical of Japan. But if you want to check out my YouTube, you can even get to see the oldest existing pagoda in Japan at Ishiyama Temple. That's a 2-story pagoda, and it's quite elegant. Now, if you have seen that one, you'll notice there's a little difference, not just in the height, but this is very uniform, these little sandwiched layers. But the one that we see at Ishiyama-dera, it really, really comes out to the side with such grace and elegance, and it's almost wider than it is taller. It's gorgeous. The spire looks incredibly futuristic. Now, I have a theory, I don't know if it's true, but I believe that the spires that you see on top of pagodas, because enshrined, usually we have Buddha statues inside, and you're not allowed to take pictures. Usually there's a spiral staircase of sorts taking you all the way up to the top, and around the inside walls you can see many artifacts and things, usually depictions of Buddha. And other gods in relation to Buddhism. But my theory on the spire at the top is that the taller it gets, the closer it gets to the heavens, the closer it is to godliness, the closer it is to spiritual connection. Maybe someone like Richard can confirm whether or not that's true, but it definitely looks like something out of Doctor Who at the same time. very, very futuristic sci-fi. And if you ever meet a Japanese person and you want to know what kind of things they're interested in, and you tell them you're interested in sci-fi, and they say, eh? That's because they don't know what sci-fi is. They call it SUF. SUF is science fiction. So that's the Japanese phonetic system to say SF, science fiction, much like as if you were in a library and you were thumbing along the binding of the books. It would say SF. 3, 2, 1. I'm not even kidding. They don't know what sci-fi is. You have to teach them. 3, 2, 1. That's true, and pagodas were built with odd numbers of levels, which I think you'll agree, Richard, is one of the reasons that pagoda that is in Ishiyama Temple is just incredible, the one that's in those grounds, because it is as wide as it is as tall, and it is only 2 stories. It's quite fantastic. It's the oldest pagoda that's intact, residing in Japan, which is just wonderful. So go and check that out. I've got edited videos that are like 2 and 8 minutes long and narrated in all sorts from all different seasons. And then there's also full uncut tours as well. You can have a look at that on my YouTube channel. So there's everything for the boring days. You could learn by osmosis by just doing some cooking in the kitchen and watching one of my tours in the background. And if you do that, you will learn, and I will get, eventually, over a long, long time, I will get monetized on YouTube with anyone's good graces. And furthermore, I will be able to stream live on YouTube, which would bring me great pleasure and joy because, as you can probably tell, I enjoy live streaming. It's fun. Bigger on the inside. What's bigger on the inside? Bigger on the inside. What feels bigger on the inside? So, I love playing video games, not that I get time to do that. So when Heygo closes, I'm going to sleep, do yoga, write in my diary, study Japanese, and play video games, all at the same time, because I love multitasking and hate wasting time. While having a bath, I'm going to do it all at the same time. So when I walk around this mountain area, I get really excited because it feels so much like a video game. But when I see something like those pagodas, I also get really excited because in the role-playing video games I like to play, such as Final Fantasy, which I not always, but half of the time I do this tour, I do bring up video gaming because of the way it makes me feel. For example, okay, you guys ready? We're going to run. That feels like a video game, right? The camera moving like that, and it feels like a video game, which I think is super exciting. So I'm always reminded that in, for example, Final Fantasy VII, a very old one, of course, it's very old, so there are lots of polygons and things, polygon-like shapes. So these rocks remind me of that. But there's an area that's based on China, and it has pagodas in it. And the pagoda from the outside looks really small. And then when you go in, it's massive, really massive, and people are practicing kung fu in there and all sorts. So I get the same kind of feeling, so I can appreciate what Trevor was saying. It's your favorite game ever. That's why we're friends, Heather. That's why we're friends. Right, over here I've spotted something earlier that I'd never seen. I've been up this mountainside about 12 times, 7 or so have been with Heygo. And I saw something new over here, so let's go and have a look. Are you ready? Three, 2, 1. Look at that. Little monument. I'm not sure what it says, I'm afraid, but not half makes a good postcard. 3, 2, 1. Cool, huh? Every time you come on my tours, you'll experience different views. Always. I'm hoping Richard's like, I can read that, but I don't know. That's a 4 zoom. So, yet still, furthermore, if you join me on things like YouTube, you'll experience all different kinds of things. Now we're coming down to we've got half an hour left, but if you're loving the cherry blossoms in about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then you can stick with me a little bit longer. I've got that time for you today, if you'd like it. Oh, let me check my battery's okay. Yeah, 69% battery left. That's good. We have it. So I can stay a little bit longer for more blossoms at the end, but we'll definitely fit it all within the tour. Don't worry, I've become a timekeeping wizard. Not trying to get myself burned at the stake, or whatever happens to wizards these days. There we go. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for your contribution to my travel and my ticket into this space. It cost me about 1,500, 600 yen, not including cups of tea, snacks and bottles of water and lunch that I will need soon just to come on this tour. So thank you for your tip. Yeah, the inscription was a little bit blur. However, Richard, do I have you on Facebook or anything? If you send me a message, I can send you the picture I took earlier, which would be much better quality. They go to wizardry school now, that's true. Jubilee loves the trees, which is great. Now, these stairs are a little bit dangerous and also secret. I need the bathroom, so I need to try not to shake my bladder. Shake my bladder too much. Shake your bladder, bladder, funky song, funky song. I'm going to try not to do that. And I am going to send you some pictures of Nobunaga because I promised you them earlier. So let's have a look. This is the depiction from about 400 years ago. That's all right. He's all right. I would. Again, with washroom references. Look, this is not a TV drama. The fact is, I'm a real person and I do need to use the bathroom sometimes. In TV dramas, some people are like, well, that's not very realistic. They didn't even go to the toilet. And I'm like, well, you don't really want to see that, do you? You don't want to see that unless I'm taking you to the toilet. So that is a depiction by a priest a long, long time ago. And here is the depiction these very days in the form of Tobidashi-kun, which is the protector of crossy roady environments. But I didn't see one when I needed one the other day. Basically, this little Tobidashi-kun shape, this round running man, has been painted in lots of different ways, often to represent samurai warlords, but mostly to represent this cute little guy called Tobi-kun. And he stops people from dashing across the road if cars are coming, or encourages cars to slow down. Now, 1 second. I'm not sticking you guys in a bush. I'm going to hold it till the end of the tour. Don't you worry. I'm sorry. As much as you've grown accustomed to getting to go into toilets with me, of course I needed to in the 12-hour tour. Yeah, my favorite picture, I've actually changed my Instagram picture to me looking at you guys adoringly as you look up at me from the bush. That's how I see it anyway. Because you guys looked so beautiful in your bush. The bush was all purple. It was lovely. Lovely. Hi, Manuelu, sorry. Manuelu, hello, nice to see you. Excuse my accidental misreading of your name at first. Okay, and then what we want to see is the hello version of Nobunaga-san. Everybody look into the chat and swoon. I think even the ladies, gents, and all others will swoon at that. How exactly, Katie? Katie says, oh, dang. And I'm not surprised. Look at that, huh? This is how the Lord Nobunaga is represented occasionally in such things as, I don't know, Destiny Warriors, or even anime and video games of all kinds, and manga, which is a Japanese version of a comic book. Anime is their version of cartoons. That is what he looks like. What a doll, right? But don't get any wise ideas, anyone who might be interested in him. He had 7 children and they were not all by the same lady, so I don't know. Depends what kind of lifestyle you have, but I mentioned earlier that sometimes this guy was a bit of a slob, and even his own father didn't like him. It is said that he used to dress as a real slob until moments such as meeting the fathers of women he was interested in which case it is said that, I mean, it's all, I don't know, it's historically accurate or inaccurate as you like, but apparently he used to dash off for however many minutes and suddenly be adorned in full armor or a glorious kimono. So who knows? Oh, thank you very much. Charity is sharing. Please do take a look throughout the chat. Charity is sharing some wonderful links to some of their favorite guides. So just now apologies in advance. I really don't want to misgender or upset anybody. So first, Paul has now been shared. So do check out Paul. He's a wonderful guide. In fact, I sent him a whopping great load. That's British for an awful lot, which is British for loads, which is British for lots. I realize nearly everything I say is British. Oh, sometimes I've had battles with the American teachers here, and they're like, "What does loads mean?" And I'm like, "Well, it means lots." And I'm like, "It means an awful lot." It's funny. Yes, he's a great guide, and I sent him a nice long voice note the other day because I know he's not been doing well, but he's feeling much more optimistic now. Now, let's take a little moment to enjoy what I'm going to call the juicy mountainside. Look at that. I love the layers. Excuse it being zoomed in so much that it's a bit grainy. I love the layers of mountains. And you can see trains passing in the distance as well. We all sacrifice a few things we prefer for the sake of love. Yes, we do. Now, are you ready to ring the bell, my friends? Here we have the frog. So coyote, the word for frog. Sarah, we're about 5 or 10 minutes away from, in fact, Sarah, we're 10 minutes away from reminding me to get my umbrella, okay? I'll let you know now. Michelle says, as a Canadian, I speak a mix of American and British English. Yes, that'll happen. And Doreen, thank you very much for your tip. Yeah, Paul, I love Paul's accent. And what you guys don't hear me say bad words. Not really. I dared to spell one out the other day, but I didn't say it. I'm usually pretty good in the presence of my customers and viewers and people of all ages that I'd like to be enjoying my tours. So bar a little bit of secret innuendo, I try to be as respectful as I can in my tours, but I do have a bit of a potty mouth outside of this, and something Paul really loved was me letting it rip in the message that I sent him. So if you ever get a voice note from me and you haven't told me that you don't like that kind of thing, be careful, beware. No, Paul doesn't hold back, but ladies, we've got different things we've got to do. Right. I'm not going to put you in a bush, but I think I'm going to put you on the bush. Does this bush look stable bush? Yeah, sure. Stable bush. I'm going to ring that bell. And I'm going to put a little bit of money in here. I'm going to put a little bit of, can I do this? I'm going to put money in here for everybody, okay? The money and the offering is for everybody. But in particular, I'm going to say this is for Elizabeth. Potty mouth is a great description of Paul, but also myself. Little do you guys know. Okay, so what I tend to do, I'm not religious myself, but that doesn't mean you can't be spiritually connected to that which is around you. So I'm going to put some money in here, and as I do, I hope that you guys will all, I don't know, maybe it'll resonate with you. Maybe you can think of something important to you, or say goodbye to Heygo in your hearts or something. I'm going to do it with a Go-En coin. Go-En coin is a 5 yen coin, and the sound of Go-En sounds very similar to a phrase in Japanese that that relates to good relationships. That could be in business or in love or in family or anything. So here's to good relationships, right? Here's to good relationships. And that little bird is chirping in the background in agreement. Okay, I'm behind you. I'm going to do my thing. Right, I'm also warning you, this is loud, okay? This bell is loud. So turn your sound down. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I was so excited to clap that I forgot to put my money in first. But it doesn't matter too much. You can read a lot of things online about how to conduct yourself at shrines and things, but ultimately, just not taking a bunch of selfies in front of things, not speaking really loudly, and not filming other people are some of the most important things you can do to be respectful. If you don't remember exactly what order to do things in, don't worry. And in fact, area to area in Japan, it changes a little bit anyway. Hi, Hayward. Sorry if you just chimed into the moment that bell went dong. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Oh, sorry, the chat just zoomed back and I saw a tip from before. So thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We're coming up to the cherry blossom moment. These ones are kind of coming off the trees. The closer we get to the top of the mountain, the more wind there has been, so the more likely the blossoms are to have gone. But down a little bit lower here, it's protected, so we're going to see some lovely blossoms. First of all, I'm going to show you some lovely weeping, fluffy popcorn blossoms. That's what I'm calling them. That's not their official name, so don't quote me on that. But we'll go and have a look at that. And I do still have more information about Nobunaga. So far, you've had it from the top of my head, so I should probably get to my notes so that I'll give you something a little bit more accurate. Well, like, it's accurate, but I can give you some dates and things. And I can talk about his friends a little bit as well. And what on earth happened to him. Ohayou gozaimasu. That's all right, Christine. So over here we have a lovely blossom, which I think you'll agree looks quite a lot like popcorn. I often say like candy floss, but Maple's got it in my head that it's popcorn. But of course, we'd both get it in our heads that it's snacks. But these ones smell really, really lovely. And they're all different colours on the same tree. Betrayed by his BFF, Dragon hugs Heather like you wouldn't believe. There were three of them. Popcorn tree. There's actually kind of three colours in the distance, but I don't want to intrude on other people enjoying this space as well. I'll just tell you a little bit more about that in a second. I think we'll get down to the flat land in a minute, but I just want to tell you about this little bit that we're up on right now. Oh, that would be good, Trevor. Trevor says, now we just need a butter tree, and then we'll be all good. Or in British English, butter tree. My partner is Japanese, and he's like, I can speak British English, bottle of water. And I'm like, that's right, but no, stop it. It's bottle of water. And he's like, pass the butter. And I'm like, stop it. You're taking the mick. He's like, what's that? And my American friends are like, what's that? I'm like, well, it means you're having me on. Like, what's that? Just don't even. And my umbrella, yeah, coming up to Umbrella Point. Aren't they lovely? So all of these areas around here that we're walking around right now, we've still got foundation stones for some of the houses. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous little illustration, architectural style illustration of, I love this style, like gorgeous old maps, or kind of like, I don't know, in the 90s, I think a lot of children's books had illustrations like this, which are just great. Oh my goodness, I apologise, Charity. Charity watches a lot of Love Island UK, so understands British English. Oh, I'm embarrassed. but also, it's true. So this is a little example of what it looked like. And allegedly, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the good guy of the trio of friends, in this story of love and deceit and conquering, it is said he had a home in this area. His estate was in this area, but there is actually no proper evidence of that. And here you can see a little isometric drawing of the interior of a Japanese home. So I'm going to let you grab that as a postcard while I talk about that. You've heard me talk about that on my merchant house tours and other things, and just the way that the doors are windows and the windows are doors and everything slides and it's not a door anymore. I don't usually say it like that, but yeah, basically all of the walls can move around in so many traditional Japanese homes because the weather is so inconsistent in Japan that we need to find ways to remove some of the humidity sometimes and protect furnishings and things. So usually all the furnishings will be kept in one storeroom, and the things you need, you get them out when you need them. I get the impression that living day-to-day life in Japan was basically a series of how long it took you to carry what from what room to the next, and then you drank tea, and then your day was finished. Drank tea, eat rice, move the furniture, go to sleep after you get your bed out, and then in the morning you put your bed away. Yes, to old maps. Yeah, it shows the tatami mats. And the reason that picture showed the tatami mats is because that is how Japanese houses are measured. So they don't do them in square feet like in the UK. They don't do them in square meters like I think they do in America. And they do it in how many tatami mats your place is. I think mine is 18. And even if there aren't any tatami mats, so mine doesn't have any, but mine's westernized, which means I don't have a bidet, which I never needed a bidet more in my life than when I come to Japan. But I can just go to cafes and use their bidets. Great. Now you guys all can imagine me enjoying using the toilet for the bidet. And also the bird song that it will play. Use feet too. They have bidets in cafes. Yes, but not like as an attraction, like come and use the bidet and have a coffee. It's it's in the bathroom. And in the bidets in most of our countries would be separate devices. However, in Japan, they're linked to the toilet. The toilets here are pretty cool. In Japan, it's basically famous for having toilets and 4 seasons. But of course, everywhere has toilets and many places have 4 seasons. But Japan has the monopoly on that idea. It's very lucky. Yeah, we're a mixture as well. In the UK, basically, for example, we'll measure in miles for distance. Unless we're running, then it's kilometers. We'll measure in stone for people weight, unless it's food, and then it becomes grams or pounds. And it's just all a mess. Like if you're measuring it in a bag, then it's in kilograms. If you're measuring it as powder, then it's in grams. Sarah, we're going to go get the umbrella. It's just over there. Look at it. Suspicious umbrella. Okay. Blossoms ahoy. Shall we step outside? First of all, you can have a little look at these little boards, prayer boards with Nobunaga. And look, this person even did their own representation of a bunny rabbit there. Love it. Oh, apparently Tokyo does have a cafe, the Modern Toilet Restaurant. Amazing. So guys, I did the leggiest of legwork earlier. I climbed all of that myself. And any guesses how long it took me to climb all the way to the top of that mountain if you've been here since the beginning? Any guesses? And I did it without one of these lovely walking sticks for aid. 10 minutes. Katie, no. Have you not been here since the beginning of the tour? It was so far. I did it in 18 or 20 of the pantingest, sweatiest red minutes ever. Those are walking sticks. Yeah, they're walking sticks for everybody to use. You can bring your own, of course. You can get your notches on it. The umbrella. Ta-da! Okay, let's go and see the cherry blossoms, everybody. We have got 13 minutes until the end of the tour, and we've got loads of lovely blossoms, and we're going to walk even further into the blossoms than usual. I'm going to walk you over this part of the castle grounds. The castle feeling extended far out, all the way out over here, and in the distance you can see rice fields and everything. Hi, Nancy. You're at the end of the tour, but you're in time for the blossoms. 1 second, I have to show you how high-tech Japan is. There's a little advertising robot over here. I'm going to show you. So I asked Dan. Isogashii ne. Isogashii. Look, it's slowly cutting the grass by itself, but it's also advertising. Isn't that cute? It's an outside Roomba. You need one. It looks so tired, the poor thing. Very cute. Very cute. So Dan said that he had some excellent tours coming up, like one with Hoy, and I really wanted to see. And I said, well, I'll be there as long as it's not running when my tour is. And I said, I chose an empty slot in the calendar for my tour, so as long as you haven't booked your tour over my tour, I'll be there. He didn't say anything. So do tell me, what was the secret special information? He said he's got some kind of big news or big reveal. Can you tell me? I want to know. It's a lawn Roomba, yeah. Oh, of course he'll understand. I literally cannot be on his tour while running my own. Of course. Hello, Amparo. Hello, Lisa. Nice to see you guys. We're going to go over to the blossoms. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I just looked at this edge here and I thought, oh, my goodness, I have to climb down there. There's like no evidence of steps. What am I going to do with the bathroom? Okay, here we go. There's steps. Phew. Oh, well, thank you very much for jumping between our two tours. And may I say thank you, everybody. It's been an honor to have about 80 of you here at any one time. Thanks for being here, even with other tours going on. I really do appreciate that. Now let's go and get your just desserts, your reward. And then I guess many of you will start to head off to bed. But if anyone wants to come and see Hikone Castle and Hikonyan one more time, you're absolutely welcome to. And if anyone wants to come and see Hikone Castle at night, please do. But that's best for Europeans, I'm afraid. And then if anyone wants to come and see Omi Hachiman Canal at night time, just once in the springtime, I've never seen it before and I'm very excited to, then please do. Now, I'm going to get you some close-ups of these blossoms, but we'll walk through a little bit. I want to know what Dan's big announcement was. He didn't do a big reveal. They were doing one of their food tours, and he told everyone about his Facebook group, so they need to join our tours for alerts in the future. Oh, he told me he was going to do a special big news. I wonder. Thank you so much, San Francisco, Suzanne. Okay. Coming over this way, we're walking through the car park, but I'm going to walk a little speedy through the car park because I'm going to keep walking around the corner to even more of the blossoms. Now, they're at about 130% bloom, so they're 30% after the bloom, but they are still looking really, really gorgeous, and I'm going to get you some close-ups of them too. Oh, you had to feed Patches during part of it, so you might have missed it. Really? Unless it was an announcement yesterday that he needed a 9-to-5 job. That doesn't really sound like Dan to suggest that. You'll happily be at the next one, okay. Look at all these lovely blossoms on the ground. So I'm going to walk you through the car park so you don't have to experience car parkiness for much longer. But look at these. Oh, it's true, Michelle. So, Michelle said he did say yesterday that he lost income due to Heygo. Me too. I did my taxes and I earned a lot of money overall from Heygo, but my average per tour was only $10 or so, which is not very much at all. Sometimes I'd get 0. Sometimes I'd get 2 or 3 tips. And sometimes I'd do pretty well. But I'd never cover any of my travel and ticket costs all in one go for a day. So I did my taxes and I earned well, but I spent more. So all of these tours I've been doing for you, I've basically, they're presents. They're presents, guys. They're presents from all of the people who are able to and do tip and sponsor me, and presents from myself too. It's a fact. Thank you, Dawn. He did say some of the tours would Only be announced through his group, unlisted on YouTube. That could have been it. Ah, I expect so. He's got a very well-established one. Yeah, Michelle, it is a shame, isn't it? I couldn't even break even. But because of the pandemic, I only came to Heygo about 14 months ago. So basically everyone had started to go back to work in places like the UK where most of the voyages are. And so I lost my chances. Now, there's a thing over here that's, I'm pretty sure, saying no cars, because there is still a pathway here. I'm pretty sure that's saying don't go driving through there. So I'm going to go with my hiking boots because there's a lot of lovely blossoms. Yes, coming up. I have my notebook here. Who burned the castle? Why, the 13-day shogunate. He burned the castle. The devil he was. I'm not going to hear... Oh, no, Trevor, no. Hi, Greg and Amy. You guys little enablers. Okay, so, Azuchi Castle, 1576. It began construction, and, well, they began construction, and 3 years later it was burned down. But why? And also, it was the first castle in Japan to have a castle tower. So all other castles in Japan look like that, with the stacking up of towers, just because of that. 1 second. So I'm just going to remind you of that. Here's Nobunaga. Here's the castle town. Here is the lovely castle. That's what it looked like. Okay, the highest part in total from the bottom of the mountain to the top was 180 meters. And castles in Japan have always been built for war. However, Azuchi Castle was built to show off wealth and instill a sense of splendor in its impressed onlookers. This is definitely for us to walk through because it's lovely. It was built on a peninsula of Lake Biwa, and these days rice paddies and marshland are in the area. I'll get you some close-ups on blossoms, I promise. So as you noticed right from the very beginning, there's an unusual straight and wide route to the castle. However, Azuchi Castle was designed with yet more different paths and entry points to the castle, interestingly. The large space that we first reached was said to have been the residence of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, in which we're best friends with, one of three of the group in which we had Nobunaga, with one who became known as the 13-day shogunate. I'll tell you about in a minute. Look away if you don't want to see spiders. You have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know some people just don't want spiders on the screen, so I hope that helped. Lynn says, bah! Oh my God. But I personally think that was a quite interesting postcard. Let's have a little look up here. So as we saw, there were foundation stones absolutely everywhere. There were temple and shrine areas around, but they were all for Nobunaga-san. Even the tomb. And the tomb that was there were tombs on site that we saw last time. We didn't see the official tomb this time, but they actually are monuments for his family members too, his most beloved, favorite family members. But their bodies don't actually reside there; they reside somewhere else. So it's just a kind of token to them. Mischievous laugh, yeah, for sure. So we're saying goodbye to the blossoms in Shiga in Japan this week, actually. So Nobunaga became known as the great unifier of Japan, and he was killed by dun 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 Mitsuhide. Mitsuhide used to be his friend, but he was jealous, so jealous, in fact. So we have Akechi Mitsuhide, who killed Nobunaga by surprise one day after battles that had been successfully completed, and Oda Nobunaga had taken his whole family to Kyoto to celebrate. he found himself in a difficult position that meant that he had to do something which makes it unclear whether or not he committed suicide or was murdered. And I will explain that in a second. Dragon Hug Heather has tipped and a theg too. Katie says, oh, with an emoji. Very nice. So, Nobunaga had intended to invite the emperor to the castle, but sadly never got the chance. I don't think I'm allowed to walk in this bit, so I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to get no sirens after me, so I'm going to keep going this way. Very nice to see you. However, one of the reasons that we know that the castle looked so beautiful is because he did manage to invite a very old, at the time, a very prolific Catholic priest. And actually some of the first Europeans that were in Japan were from Portugal. And even these days, many Europeans that are in Japan are from Portugal and speak Portuguese, which is fascinating, I think. And not European, of course, but the largest community other than Japanese people that is in Japan is Brazilian people, which I just think is fascinating. And I believe there's an extensive history connected perhaps to coffee, which is quite interesting, and perhaps also due to asylum and things, but I should probably investigate that a little bit more. Yeah, Katie says, can you imagine being on a family vacation and your friend just comes in to whack you? And if anyone doesn't know what getting whacked means, it means someone has killed you. It's not the one. Thanks, Kristen. So we've got 30 seconds left of the tour, but if you'll give me another 5 minutes, then I'll keep bringing the drama. So 1 second. That priest that actually did visit, he lived until 1597. So he was in his middle-aged part of his life by the time he was able to view Azuchi Castle. He said that the tower was magnificent, more so than any other European architecture. And of the four of the walls were gold and filled with beautiful pictures. And each floor was painted differently, black, white, red, and gold lacquer. So there is speculation in why Akechi Mitsuhide killed Nobunaga, but nobody knows this for sure. He was killed at Honnoji Temple in Kyoto. There are theories that Nobunaga's son was ordered to destroy the castle so that Mitsuhide couldn't occupy it. So that was the idea. Mitsuhide was gonna kill Nobunaga, and then he was going to go and take the castle to be the best castle of them all. But instead, Mitsuhide made it back to the castle and burned it. It had only been standing complete for 3 years, which also is a spectacle that someone could have built such a huge castle up on such a huge hill in just 3 years. But yeah, it got burned. But don't worry, guys. Let me think. So there were 3. There's Akechi Mitsuhide. We don't like him. We don't like that guy. And there's Toyotomi Hideyoshi. We like this guy. And there's Oda Nobunaga, the great unifier of Japan, as he became known. But his earlier nicknames were not so nice as that. He was called things like the demon boy and just a lazy layabout and an ogre, basically. Thank you very much for your tips there, Michelle and Kristen. Thank you. So if you can have a little look at your map if you like, or you can imagine where you know that Joy in Japan lives. So she lives in Hiroshima. So all the way over in Hiroshima is way over to the southwest. Before that is Himeji. Now I'm getting a little bit confused as to whether or not it was Himeji or Hiroshima, but basically we're in Shiga. Imagine that's to the right, and then put Kyoto next to the left, and then further along put Himeji Castle. No, I think it's Hiroshima. Put Hiroshima Castle. So Kyoto is in the middle, right? Kyoto is where Honnoji Temple was, and that is where Nobunaga was celebrating all of his successes by having a tea party, basically, which is the highest point of civilized society in Japan, as you know very well from Eriko's tours about the tea ceremony. So he was having a tea ceremony with his wife and his children before he found that Mitsuhide was coming in to kill everybody. So Nobunaga ran into the inner chambers of this temple, and I'm just going to give a trigger warning for suicide-related things. So if you would not like to listen to anything in relation to suicide or a little bit of gore, then please don't listen right now, and I'm going to nominate lovely Sarah, who's on it right now, to let you know when it's safe to listen in the chat. It'll only be 1 minute, so from this point, turn it down if you don't want to hear that. So Oda Nobunaga ran into the inner chambers of this. I mean, nobody knows for sure, but he ran into the inner chambers of the temple, and then he committed this act, which is called seppuku. It's a Japanese historical tradition that you can do to restore honor to your family, so that no matter what you have done before that might be considered bad, or no matter what might come of your family thereafter, if you have done this, it's basically like a blank slate for your family. So what you would do is you stab a knife into your stomach, you stab a knife lower into your stomach, pull it up high, lift it across, and then pull it down the other way, and basically disembowel yourself. So it's a disgusting, horrible act of suicide, but also it's a method of restoring honor to your family. So yeah, you're good to listen again now, everybody. Okay, if someone doesn't want to hear anything horrible like that. So we don't know if Mitsuhide actually did kill him, or if he just basically cornered him until Nobunaga had done that to himself. So yes, thank you. Yeah, disgusting, right? And actually, that act, which is called seppuku, has actually continued to be done even throughout to the end of the Second World War. Even generals in Japan would still do that to restore honor to their family after the devastating things that happened after war, which is just awful, isn't it? Awful. So Mitsuhide went all the way back over to the right side, to where we are right now, to burn down the castle. Great. But guess what? Toyotomi Hideyoshi, he came running over from the left side, over in the southwest. He came running all the way back because he heard what happened in Kyoto. He dashed all of his horses and all of his men right through Kyoto and all the way back over to Shiga, to come and avenge Nobunaga by killing Mitsuhide. And from then on out, Mitsuhide has gone down in history very appallingly, having not only betrayed his friend, but his name became the 13-day shogunate. So he only lived for 13 days after betraying his friend so severely. So goodbye to that guy, right? So that's what happens. And yeah, for all of these stories and more is why the impact of Azuchi Castle is just so great, and not least because the design of it was just so spectacular. And before I just end the tour in just a moment, and I'll go find you a couple of little blossoms up close, I would just like to finish with a wonderful little phrase. So later on, Toyotomi Hideyoshi basically took on all of the clans that were connected to Oda Nobunaga. So he got to rule over those, and he was a great leader. He didn't have the same backstory that Nobunaga had, and generally he was loved and appreciated. So you can hear tale of him all around Japan. But later than that, the Edo period began. The Edo period is when Ieyasu, one of the first lords of the Ii family, we also know Naosuke, the final lord of Hikone Castle, which we'll be going to again later. If you guys are free, if you're not asleep, if you are, that's fine. If you're in Australia and Asia, then welcome. That would be nice to have you come along. Ieyasu had the first castle that was in... I'll get that car out of the way. He had the first castle that was established in Kyoto, which is called Nijo Castle. And actually, I'll be going to Nijo Castle next week on Thursday, but not as a Heygo tour. I might do a live something if I can find a way, but I'll be making videos for my sponsors and everyone that they're helping me to support. But picture this. We've got Oda Nobunaga, who became the unifier of Japan. And then we've got Toyotomi Hideyoshi, yeah, who I just said. And then we've got Ieyasu. There are some of different kind of the same time, but different sort of segments in time. And there's a little phrase. I hope it's in this book. Otherwise, I'm just gonna I'm just going, okay, I might have to do it from my head. I think I've got it from my head. Okay, all right. I've got it here. I was just about to cast it off my head because I do have it. But here it is. Nobunaga may make the cake and Hideyoshi may bake it, but Ieyasu eats it. How's that? So in Japanese history, there is a little proverb that says, one may make it, the other may bake it, but another eats it. Another shall be so lucky. So I guess just the feeling in general is that the great person that you see, I'm not going to use the word man, the great person that you see, it is not all their making. Someone else has done so much more before them to have created the great things that you get to experience now. And perhaps that will be the same for Heygo. Heygo gave us a great something, a great seed of an idea, and we worked with it and we learned from it. And who knows what's going to come next? So let's look to the future, get excited about that, keep the relationships that we can, do what we can for ourselves, and look after each other along the way. And we'll see what comes in the future, huh? Oh my goodness, is there some kind of hijacking happening here? Momo says, Kendall is my favorite guide ever, and she is way better than Dan. Or maybe this is Dan hijacking Hoy's channel. I don't know. Stephanie, are you okay? Stephanie says, I'm confused. Melissa says, my friend made a beautiful short film about Japanese-American intergenerational trauma called seppuku. Amazing, Melissa, that sounds incredible. So everybody, you've had it. I hope you enjoyed this this kind of cherry blossom and castle tour with as much history as I could cram in from my mind and from my notes. And I had a great time chatting to you and walking you around. I'll show you my sketchbook if you'd like, if you want to see the drawing I did at the beginning. Thank you so much, Alison, for the tip. Okay, Hoy and Dan hijacked each other's accounts to present the tours. That's funny. I high five Jack Toy's channel. I like that. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to get my sketchbook out for you guys to just see in the end. And by the way, I think I'm dangerously close to having 2 million postcards on Heygo. And as I've only been here for 14 months presenting as a guide, I'm pretty chuffed with that. So keep on clicking away. And on Monday, we'll see if I did it. But I bet we did. So let's have a look. Here is the top. So if anyone missed the top, this painting I created live. And there is the train station stamp. Ooh, there we go. Thank you very much. And I did one of Omi Hachiman. And if you want to come and see me for the one that I do of Hikone Castle, then you can. If not, follow me on Instagram. You can tip me however you like on Heygo or buy me a coffee or anything. You can carry on your sponsorship where you will get hand-painted cards from me seasonally. That's going to be like 4 to 6 times a year. You'll also get lots of other videos and things. But generally, you are helping me to be me for everybody. I want to keep teaching the world about my world and spreading inspiration and light and banter if I can. So thank you very much for sharing those links. And also, may I ask you to please consider still leaving reviews, okay? Leave reviews because I'm having those all documented as a record of my achievements here on Heygo, and who knows what kind of jobs they might get me in the future. So thank you very much. And if you think I look tired today, it is because I am very tired on a non-celebratory 3 hours sleep because I went to bed too late because I had too much energy at night, and I still had to get up for this, and I can't wait to go to sleep on Wednesday. On Tuesday night, I'm going to sleep so hard. So a moment for the guides who haven't been sleeping to bring the tours to Heygo. Thank you so much, everybody. That's all right, Mary Lou. That's all right. And if the Heygo app is behaving, I'll put this uncut on YouTube, okay? But if it's not, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's been destroying all of my downloads. Bye. See you next time. Happy Easter. Happy early Easter.